Big Ten football is in the air. It is great to be back at Roosters for the live show. This is a fun, casual joint, and it's a fun, casual conversation with Bobby Carpenter on my left, Brad Robinson on my right, Nicole Cox here in the middle. Ohio State is done with non-conference football. I feel like, Bob, I'm calling the 49-14 win over Marshall a choose-your-own-adventure.
It really was.
Wasn't it? I mean,
here's the good thing. There's some elements you could look at, like defensively start a little slow, like Marshall put together a coherent drive. And I want this to be known, and I said this coming in Marshall, there was going to be considerable step up in like the skill player talent. Mm-hmm. Like Huff is a good coach. They played Virginia Tech pretty tough. Like they have players out there. They've got some good receivers. The second touchdown wasn't a touchdown, but we'll pretend like it was because they called it that. Wear white shoes, folks. But they put together a nice drive. But part of it was like, God, the defense. I'm like, well, when you score in like 2 plays on offense and you're on defense for 13 minutes.
That seems like a lot. In the heat?
It seems like a lot.
Unbearable heat.
I like turned around. I'm like, wait, how do we just score again? Oh, it was a run. Oh, okay. We're just ripping off like 50-yard runs now.
Or 86-yard runs.
Even better. So it was good. A lot of great. I'm glad you have Brad Robinson on to talk about special teams.
The timing couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
He's back.
Oh, yeah.
Brad, I don't know that I've ever seen that. I didn't think we were going to talk about it right off the bat. But 3 straight OB, that's like me on the tee.
Yeah.
Drunk.
12 beers deep, trying to tee off.
Yeah. It's
not
a great formula for me.
So I wasn't at the game. I was out of town visiting my brother. But from what I could see on TV, the first one I was like, okay,
it happens.
Yeah. Second one, not a good look. And then you pan the camera to the clip of him talking to Coach Day, and Coach Day is not having it. I've been in very similar conversations with Coach Day before, usually trying to like plead the case to the kicker for the kicker or something. But when it happened the third time and then they immediately took him out of extra points in the third quarter was when my theory is that I haven't talked to Jaden yet, but my theory is that he's banged up and like something happened. Because I'd like to think he's a really talented kicker. He's not going to kick 3 out, and then they're also not going to pull him from kicking field goals just because he's not kicking off well because he is so talented at that. Mm-hmm. So that's my thought process. I think he did something on one of the kickoffs or one of the extra points, but Austin went in and did exactly what he needed to do. I know the like Joel Klatt stuff was saying all you got to do is kick it down the middle of the field.
Just keep
and he got in. He got the first one out, kicked it where it needed to be. Coverage did a great job. I think ball was at like the 19 or 20, and then he kicked extra points good, which is good because Austin got an extra point 2 weeks ago, so he'd already kind of gotten like that game action. So he did a good job, but yeah, definitely not a good look. And glad it happened against Marshall and not a team that's going to make you pay for that field position.
Yeah, that was Austin Snyder went in. He's more like Nicole, just striping it right down the middle. After
it's like the first guy in the
she's got the formula. I won't give away her secret formula for hitting fairways, but went in and delivered, which I know.
Well, women are great at golf for fairways because they naturally don't have the ego of let me see how far I can hit this ball. At expense of any accuracy at all, I'm going to see how far I can hit this. So if I'm 1 for 10, that's fine as long as the 1 is good.
And that's the key in golf,
Nicole,
just so you're aware. It's not every time you
Everybody
try to kill
knows
it,
Nicole, but women are the only ones that listen to
ball, so... But I'm just so glad Brad's on today to defend these special teams because my heart was like, oh, poor guy. Like, and I know that's their only job, and they choose to be kickers, but there's no wiggle room, and that's what's hard for me is like they're just expected to get it right every single time.
Well, I think the standard, Nicole. I'm told it's the standard.
It is. It's the standard. But I really like what you said, that maybe something happened, maybe physically. There definitely is an excuse, and it's very mental. I mean, I was like, oh, I hope my kid isn't a kicker or goalie or anything like that, where the mental state is so intense because it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
There's no gray area.
Probably not tennis either. You don't want that.
No.
You predicted a 32-point win, so the Buckeyes won by 35. So you were right on that. Did you feel pretty good about what happened on Saturday?
Guys, here's the thing. I listened to the podcast Daily Show, and I just think like we won. Like, let's look at that score. It was around the predicted score. We did exactly what we were supposed to.
You're forgetting we're Ohio State and who our fan base is. That was not a good win, according to everybody online.
Well, that's why I'm saying like
by 35.
That is the most stereotypical Ohio State win of At the end of the day, it was a great win. Nobody's happy online about it.
Which makes me really sad because we were right where we needed to be. I do understand what we're saying about the defense, but who knows? Maybe I think about this when you're training for a marathon. Do you just go all in every time you're training? You know what I mean? Like, no,
I don't
wait
think you
for
run
big,
a full
big
marathon
games.
until then.
Every
Right.
day
You ramp up.
Every day you do.
Just
No.
run a marathon every day, and then when it gets to the competition, just run it again.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
what I thought it is.
Mentally prepared.
Oh, okay.
So
I should tell Allie that because she never ran 26.2 miles until the day of the marathon.
and I think Bobby's lying. So, but I do think that
Brad is getting a PhD.
I know.
So
I know.
In exercise.
exercise.
So I think that I don't know. I mean, okay, maybe it wasn't their greatest performance, but they did what they were supposed to do. And let's talk about the Metcalf kid on Marshall.
Pretty
He
good.
was pretty talented. They
Yeah.
showed a pass that he caught one-handed last week, I think it was.
Yep.
He was very
I think he's an
talented.
NFL guy. Like I think he'll have a shot to be able to
So
play.
it's not like we were playing against people that didn't know what they were doing. Let's remember that. I mean, they
They had the Duke of Earl as their
Stone Earl
Stone Duke Earl.
until he gets knocked out.
and
Quarterback
everybody-
number 2 that's taken out this year. I said there was going to be 6. Not that I'm wishing ill will on anyone.
Well, they try to run him. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, what are we doing? Do you want this guy for next week or not, Nicole? I mean, that's the thing. They try to keep the ball moving, but at some point, like,
They're trying
These
to
are
earn
the-
those biscuits, Bob.
play them in a game you know you can win.
The other thing is they all of these teams come in to Ohio State like we are going to give it absolutely everything we have. And because we're ranked higher and that's to them, that's their Super Bowl,
Yeah.
So I think we have to take that into consideration too, that they're playing the best they can. So they do give us somewhat of a challenge, but again, we won by a lot.
That's why I think that this was the quintessential view this however you want. Like you had a preconceived notion about what that game needed to look like and it didn't match up. I mean, I understand that. If you thought you were going to look for the negatives and where Ohio State needed to improve, you had plenty of opportunity to do that. If you wanted to feel good about things that are really encouraging, namely on offense for Ohio State right now, you could also do that.
Lots of
It's like
touchdowns.
it's sort of this game and the way you view it almost depends entirely on your perspective of what Ohio State needs to be or your fandom or the way you view anything in life. I thought it was there are things on defense that I did not think matched the standard, Bob.
Yeah.
But I'm also like pretty blown away by what's going on with Chip Kelly and Ryan Day and Quinshon Judkins and Will Howard and Travion Henderson and Emeka Buka and Jeremiah Smith. Like I think that stuff is well ahead of where I thought it would be. And so I think that's probably more relevant than anything that happened on Saturday. But that's just my view on the game. Would I like to have seen better work from the non-Tyleik Williams defensive tackles on Saturday? And I definitely would have. But I don't think that that's going to cloud my judgment of what this team could become.
Yeah. I'll go
It's
back
like
to
this
that.
glass is half full, Austin.
It looks half full to me.
I'll go back to that first defensive series and kind of what we saw with the defensive philosophy that they coach here of bend, don't break. And I think I almost got too used to it last week of teams would like start with like a lot of momentum in a drive. And I just kind of watching the game Saturday, I just assumed we'd eventually stop them. They ended up scoring, so I think it kind of caught everybody off guard. But that whole bend, don't break didn't happen that first series. And then you don't get a defense, they don't get a chance to catch their breath because we go and score right away.
Yeah.
So then
42
it kind of
seconds later.
I
started
think that was
behind.
the worst thing. Like,
Yeah.
you go over, not really talk. I mean, it takes time to kind of figure some things out a little bit. What they have was like a 13, 14 play drive, and they scored right away.
Took like 7.5 minutes off the clock.
Yeah.
So.
And then the Buckeyes scored in 42 seconds on a tunnel screen to Emeka Buka.
He didn't get touched. I mean, there was literally not a soul that got a hand
Blocked
on
up pretty well, and then I think Emeka is he said after the game that he could still run faster than that. And we talked about that on the notebook. But he looked pretty darn fast to
Well,
me.
and what was great that you see on there is Carnell Tate. I know Nicole loves this, running downfield, blocking. Like, I mean, I don't know if the defensive back could get to him or not, but he's running like right alongside, sprinting, making sure he seals him off. And you see those guys blocking for each other. I know that was an issue that we had a little bit early on in the season with the wide receivers blocking. They've been blocking really well. And I know, Austin, you love the tunnel screens and bubble screens. Got to see some of those at the beginning. Burn was pretty excited about those popping up again.
Well, what I love are I love the pot pass, and I love fly sweeps and jet sweeps, and the counter toss,
Yeah.
which went to as a pass for Emeka on third down. I almost jumped out of my seat. I was so excited to see it because there's a lot of that stuff that I think Chip Kelly's still going to get.
Oh, yeah.
Those are good play calls, but let's not go back to only bubble screens all the time. I don't need that.
Probably
No,
don't need
I
that.
did. I love
What
it.
about Brad? Some stretch to the boundary. You like that or no? We can pass.
The thing
on
is,
that.
when the bubble screens are working, it's all good. And they were working. Like, hey, they run the tunnel. They go open up the next drive, run a couple bubbles out there because it keeps the defense out. And so if you can go get 8 yards on it, go get 8 yards. Loosen them back up, and then let Trey and Q just run for touchdowns.
And stiff arm guys into the dirt.
The blocking has been good. The scheme is really interesting. It's fun to watch. But how hard those guys run, and then their top end, once they get past that second level, it's you're like, oh, he's gone. Like, put it in the books.
And the ability to stay fresh with the two of them. I mean, I don't think we've had really good running back duos, but not to the point where they are arguably definitely the best two in the country, and it's who's better on every given day. You don't know, and they
Trey
just
rushed
keep
it
it
6
going.
times.
6 times for 70 plus yards.
They each averaged over 12
Yeah.
yards to carry.
That
It
seems
doesn't
pretty
even
good.
make sense.
It's pretty good.
Talk about fresh. I mean, it's as fresh as these
Oh, segue
cheesy bacon fries.
right out of the fryer.
Curly fries right
Appetizer
out of there.
Threes Day.
On an appetizer Threes Day. They're $3 all day long. You've got the potato. You've got a little bit of the dairy with the cheese, and then the bacon, bringing it home on top. They're fantastic. And,
A little bit of protein in there.
oh, no, are we out of the Q? Oh, no, Nicole.
No, we should have more. They
No.
might just not be out today.
They're running
They had to
around.
order more. Yeah,
Buckeye
There's a
giveaway.
QR code on the screen, Bob.
Yes. It's floating around.
somewhere. I mean,
It's
But
somewhere.
The millions of people that have come into Roosters must have used all the napkins and voted because there's awesome
is amazing.
prizes they're going to be giving away.
Yes.
When's the next one? It's coming
October
up.
7th.
Oh.
October 7th. And our winners, Mark and Ashley, they came out. They won tickets to the Marshall game. They had the best time. They were incredible, their entire group. So it was really, really nice.
Mark brought a date?
He had 10, the winner.
Oh, okay. I thought,
Yeah, the winner.
no, it's
And
husband.
he watches the show, which is so kind. Him and his wife, they won 10 tickets. So they brought
Nice.
8 people. They brought their grandson. It was
Sure, it was
awesome.
Down
Yeah.
the field, running around a little.
Yeah, they weren't on the
Pregame?
field. They were
Oh, that's
just, we
sweet.
took them to the hospitality Lear
Oh,
field, and then they
yes.
were in 6A were with
Mm.
their tickets.
Oh,
so
great
they were able to
seats.
see like Big
Yeah.
Noon Kick set up. And so it was great. They had the
Nice.
best time.
Can't win if you don't play, Bob.
And you know what the best part is? It's free to play.
Register
Register every day.
every day.
Roosterswings.com.
You don't want to
Yes.
miss it.
Official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
An official sponsor of the Roosters Buckeye Leaves. Nicole's got a full notebook.
I do.
How many names are we going to name?
Well, I was going to say, look at all my notes, guys. I have so many
Holy
things.
moly.
Cade Curry, I was
Yes.
just, he came out strong. He just looked great. Obviously he was thrown out for targeting, which I have questions about that after the show. But I was just very impressed with him. You could tell he was just juiced. He couldn't wait. He was excited to be there, and he was great until he couldn't play anymore. And you could tell the moment it happened, he had that
Oh.
look on his face like, oh no.
Which-
Which I feel like
That was,
when you're
yeah.
going that fast and things, I don't know. I just question that a little bit. Just
The rule is well intentioned, and
it is.
I think that
I love. Yeah.
Bob and Brad could talk about it for hours on end about how significant it is to try and make the game more safe. But
It's very important.
there are
Overrated.
shades of severity that must be taken into consideration.
You can tell he just wanted to get there, and so. But guys, I sound like a broken record, and I'm worried I'm going to do this every week. But I am so impressed with Travion and Quinshawn, and watching the two of them, and watching Trey's like selflessness
Mhm.
and wanting to. He's just being a teammate, and the two of them together, it's like you were saying, they're the best in the country. And watching, it was incredible.
They're pretty good. Brad?
I mean, I think got to give a lot of credit to the O-line for they've been actually able to move people. I'm not going to say much on them yet until we get, next week, Big Ten play. I'm going to have to go Lathan Ransom here. It is so nice seeing him healthy, but not even that because we've seen him play high-level football. I don't think I've ever seen him play so aggressively and just dominant. Like, he is hitting people. He is everywhere. All the big talk, obviously, was Caleb Downs coming in this year, and I think people kind of forgot about Lathan, and he's played some really good football to start the year.
He's playing with a lot of emotion, too.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
than I can remember
I'm
seeing.
loving it.
Mhm.
You've got me feeling emotions. Him and Mariah. I mean, they're killing it out there. I'm going to go with another guy that's kind of been forgotten and had a big game. We'll go with Emeka Egbuka. I mean,
Yep.
everybody's talking about, how good Jeremiah Smith has been, and that's rightfully deserved of the praise. And Emeka's just sitting back. They stole a touchdown from him a couple weeks ago, and it's like, hey, just toss me the rock, block it up pretty good, and I'll just run all the way there. I believe he led the team in catches, if I'm not mistaken.
He had the biggest game. He's now in the top 12, Bob, over in his career. I think this puts it really in perspective. 12th in Ohio State history in catches, 12th in Ohio State history in receiving yards, 21st in receiving touchdowns. All of those records are in play for him over the course of the year.
It's amazing.
If people are not saying anyone watching here are forgetting Emeka Egbuka's greatness, but maybe around the country, he's putting together one of the most decorated careers in Ohio State history.
Oh, and he's such a humble guy.
Yeah, I was just, he is. He's well-spoken. He spoke on the coach's show on Thursday, and it was just so great getting to listen to him and how
nice guy.
Positive he is and how blessed he feels to be at Ohio State.
So since you stole my guy, Lathan, like those two guys are kind of the same thing. They've been here for a long time. They're really good players. And this year, like, they're leaders, but just kind of under the radar a little bit in terms of who we were valuing. And there's just other guys that people love, and that's fine. But they showed out on Saturday.
You guys, that's a true leader. When you're behind the scenes and just being strong, I think that's why I just love the Trey Quinshawn duo so much.
Yeah.
And Emeka too. The same thing. That says a lot, especially for these young guys. Like at 20 years old, just to let go of your arrogance and wanting to, be great for yourself. I just think that's a real gift because there are adults in this world that still struggle with that a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to name all those people that you guys named for Buckeye Leaves, so I'm just out of luck.
I love it. Schlegel. I love it.
But
We've got all Schlegels today.
I love, this is going to sound counterintuitive. Ryan Day getting a penalty is a reminder to me of how much more engaged on the sideline he is than he ever has been before. Now, maybe in that exact situation, he would have got the exact same penalty even if he was the offensive play caller because he would have been trying to get the play in, get it snapped, get it moving. He would have been involved in that part of the game anyway. But there were also times on Saturday where you could watch him on the sideline and think, well, he's not just looking at a script or getting ready for the next third down call when the defense is on the field. I think he just made a personnel adjustment on his own, or he's looking and making, adding some influence to what's going on with the rest of the defense in ways that I don't recall ever seeing before. I think that this CEO move is a huge success, and I think it's bringing out more personality or restoring Ryan Day's personality. It's bringing out more aggression.
Restoration?
It's a renaissance. It's a Ryan renaissance. And I think that's what your head coach should be doing.
Yeah.
And I think I like it.
Arguing with the refs.
Yelling at kickers,
Yelling at
simple
kickers.
stuff.
He wouldn't have had the time.
I don't think he
to yell
needs
at
to
the
yell
But
at
even
kickers.
something like
Nah,
that.
he had the time before.
He might have
Yeah.
a kickoff, but he's involved in the special team stuff
Yeah.
and trying to get it fixed.
Yeah.
It's not done yet, clearly. There's still
Speaking
work to be done.
Punt return had some moments.
Well, you're bailed out on that. And
But-
I know that Brandon's probably glad that you
Yeah.
get the legal procedure. But for as good as it
Then
was.
he almost did it again.
Yeah. And there may have been some sun issues. People don't realize
Yeah.
fielding punts. I have a hard time criticizing. I know it's their job. It is insanely
So hard.
difficult at the college and professional level. But that's what he's out there to do.
Yep.
But they got bailed out on that. And hopefully that is the last time that we see that happen.
I'm not taking anything away from him because he almost took one to the house
He
if the
did.
turf monster didn't get him. I
Oh,
love
that guy
his
put a move on.
aggressiveness.
He got tackled by the 35-yard line.
I do love his aggressiveness as a punt returner. I think it's really good to see someone out there that, we've had a Mech out there who looked good before, but at least because Brandon's that fourth receiver that rotates in, it's kind of nice. He kind of gets out there and he's like, this is my time to go right now. And he is aggressive with it. So I'm very optimistic about it. And he got the mistake out of the way. Now he can kind of relax and feel that. And it's a learning experience, I think.
Yeah. We're going to talk more about Ohio State's trip to Michigan State in the second half of the show. But Nicole, before she goes, she's got to nail another score prediction for Saturday.
Okay. So 45-15, I think is what I wrote down. Let me make sure. Yep, 45-15. I know it's weird, but that's just what I'm feeling.
45-15, a 30-point win.
They do have a good kicker over there, so it could be a lot of field goals.
There you go. That could work. All right. Nicole's got another win in the books. We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back in here for more of the live show at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint.
Hey, Buckeye fans! As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners, with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye playoff game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Welcome back into Roosters. It's a fun casual joint. It is more fun than ever because
the
Berm
funnest.
is here.
What's up?
Berm, what? So we had a bit of our own choose your own adventure from Snappy Jays on Saturday after the game.
Oh.
Has your opinion about what happened on Saturday changed at all since?
Yeah, a little bit. There were obviously 2 drives where Marshall looked like they had the defense on their heels a little bit. And again, I don't know that people are really. If you weren't there on the field on Saturday, you don't have any idea how freaking hot it was. And it was. I've heard that they had the temperature at 115 on the field. I've heard other people say it was like 135. It was. I don't know what it was.
It was hot.
It was
What
hot.
was the burn meter on the field?
It was hot. Okay, like it's the type of hot where you're standing there and you're sweating into your contacts.
Was it like you were eating?
He wore
the
pants though, Bob. So
Why?
Because I have knee pads on, and I don't like to wear shorts with knee pads because it looks weird.
You gotta embrace it.
Yeah, I guess that is. You look like you're leaving a
No
Diddy,
thanks.
Diddy party.
Right, and I'm not.
Yeah.
But
we made it 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Until the first reference.
there were Marshall Marshall ran 46 plays in the first half.
It's a lot.
Okay, Ohio State ran 18.
I mean, they scored so fast.
Too
And
fast.
Again,
Too furious.
the second touchdown drive, for a number of reasons, should not have happened.
Well, that was a third down, right?
It was a third down. It was. They completed the pass on it anyway. They got the first down.
Oh, they did. Okay,
but whatever. The Buckeyes were.
But it was an additional 15 yards. The numbers defensively, when you give up a 15-yard penalty, like of what,
Especially when you're starting at the 40.
yeah, and like how that leads to a scoring opportunity, it's pretty
Kickers, man.
pretty impressive.
Unbelievable specialist.
You're a kicker.
I have very real concerns about the defensive tackle production. I have very real concerns about where JT Tuimoloau is from a mental standpoint right now because I just don't see him out there like
Dominating.
going hard.
Especially in these early games.
And again, maybe I'm being overly critical. I don't know, but I'm directly comparing him to the way I watched Jack Sawyer play or the way I watched Caden Curry play, and those two are going balls to the wall, and I don't see other defensive linemen doing that.
to the window.
To the wall.
You see Caden Curry doing that.
It's Caden Curry and Jack Sawyer, and
You
that's
wanted to
about
headbutt
it.
a quarterback for heaven's sake.
And that's why, like, I'm not going to be mad at Caden for having an emotional play.
It was kind.
It's stupid, but
Yeah.
he's the only guy out there bringing juice, and so like I kind of get it. Now, there's no world where that's targeting, and the guy should be removed from a game for
You're
it.
like pushed.
If you want to
in,
call
leaned
unnecessary
in.
roughness, fine, but that's not targeting in any sense of the word. But
I've had one really bad late hit on a quarterback, and it was against Michigan State. So
they deserved it, Bob.
and they did, and it was.
But at that time, you couldn't be tossed from the game.
No, I mean,
And they kept chopping you the whole game.
I did. I hit Drew Stanton like probably 2. It was heavily late. Like it was.
Yeah, it happens.
It was.
You're
bad.
having those memories
I
because
was
it's
really
Michigan State week?
frustrated because I was getting. He kept getting the ball out, and I was like, I would get a win, and I'm like, just hold it for another second.
How many steps late was it?
2. It was full 2.
I was, I played baseball.
Trust me.
I was a pitcher. There was one time I can remember in my life I threw at someone on purpose, and like sometimes you have a moment where you're like, oh, you know what? I've had enough of you.
I got 4 sacks.
I don't think that's what Caden Curry was doing.
No, I'm saying he was fine. I'm not. I have Saturday. I was in my mind watching the game. I was not entirely thrilled with the linebacker play, and as I rewatched it, I don't think it was as bad as I thought it was.
It
on
was
Saturday.
consistent, maybe not as like dynamic as you would have.
I have this belief,
dynamism.
and you can tell me if I'm wrong because you will probably understand this better than any of us will, or you certainly will. I don't think that the linebackers know what the defensive line is doing. And is it really hard as a linebacker to know where to go if you don't know what the defensive line is doing?
If there's stunts being run in front of you and you either A, don't know that the stunt is happening, or B, you don't know exactly how it's going to play out, then you might have to play a little slower.
Do you think I'm insane?
No, I think you're right.
I think that there is elements that could be
Like
part of it.
I'm watching it, and I just don't think the linebackers know where they can
where the
go
fits are.
because they don't know what the defensive line is doing. Because I don't think the defensive line.
So
is
if you know there's
communicating.
a stunt, you're always going to play it slow because you're going to let it sift out.
materialize, right?
But the problem is if you don't even know there's a stunt going on, but you think there could be, then you're going to play slow, but you should play fast.
Yeah.
So that's part of the issue of like when you see that, if those guys aren't acutely aware of what's going on, and they're smart guys, they'll have an idea, like certain stunts are designed for pass, run, like where the ball is going to wind, where I need to go quick, where I need to go slow. And if not, you just look like you're like a blind guy walking in a meat house. You know, I mean, I think you coined the term a blind guy in a brothel, Berm.
Oh, yeah, that was
trying to feel your way through it.
Famously, Berm.
So to me, like my opinion on the linebackers has shifted a little bit in rewatch just because I'm like, I don't think that they know what's going on in front of them. And I don't know who's to blame for that. I don't know if they're not communicating, if the coaches aren't communicating, if the linemen are doing whatever they want. I don't entirely know, but it just seems like there's a disconnect there.
There was a lot of time where the runner just got to the second level with a lot of ease. And that's where I was like, where the hell is everybody? That's kind of what I saw.
Yeah, we were talking about that after the game, Bob. I was really curious to get your thoughts about it because Berm said, I think it was the entire front seven. And I'm like, or front six, however you want to look at it, including the linebackers. And I wasn't sure if that was the case. I didn't feel like they played as poorly and on first glance as maybe they were being lumped in. And I'm not picking on Berm for saying that because he's pulled back after a second rewatch, not being on the sideline sweating in 130-degree temperature.
It's hard to watch the game through the camera lens.
Yeah. So I felt more, if we were talking about the half empty, my glass is full again now, I just thought that the drop-off without
your love cup.
Yes, that's right. The drop-off without Tyleik Williams was more significant than I was anticipating.
Then you felt like it should have been.
Yeah.
And I think part of it, too, is in the first couple games, both Ty Hamilton and Tyleik were getting massive penetration. And so that allows you to play slower, too. Like, go wherever you want. If you're going to be 3 yards deep in the backfield, it's going to clear everything up. Mm-hmm. I don't have to go fast. Well, then if you don't get that penetration, then that's also another issue with it. Yeah. And so I don't know what was going on because Ty Hamilton played so well 2 weeks ago. And maybe a part of it is just like coming off of the bye week. But they had a great practice on Tuesday. I mean, it was ultra physical. Ryan talked about it.
Dynamite, he said.
Dynamite. And
sometimes some guys are not meant to be the headliner. You know what I mean? And I don't know that Ty Hamilton is made for being the penetrating, game-disrupting defensive tackle. Like that's not his job. His job is stop things. Yeah, and without Tyleik Williams in there, that's why I was confused by the rotational stuff with the lack of lights.
All of the lights.
I'm not sure what happened there. Lights just went out in Georgia somewhere. But that's why I wanted to see more Caden McDonald because he's the
K-Mac, if you
he's
will.
the guy in the rotation with Tyleik Williams, where Hero Canu is the guy in the rotation with Ty Hamilton, and so to have those guys out there together, that didn't make sense. And then
ask the questions in the presser.
Wow. Well, we didn't have Jim Knowles available after the game on Saturday, and
we'll talk to him on Tuesday, but I don't know that we're going to get an answer.
Is Larry Johnson available?
Oddly
he's the D-line coach.
I would be very surprised if Larry Johnson is made available this week.
I didn't know if assistants were made available outside of coordinators.
They are, but some
on Wednesday nights generally.
Some are more willing to appear than others.
Buckeye leaves. Quinshon Hendrickens for sure gets one.
Who's that?
Quinshon Hendrickens.
Nicole already took that combination, and she actually called them the exact same thing.
Good, I hope so. Those two are really freaking good, man. Yeah. Like what it seems to me is that they're bringing the best out of each other in a way that I don't think I would have expected.
The best.
Donovan Jackson. In his first game back,
Jack.
I was worried that maybe there would be a touch of rust. There appeared to be no rust at all.
He was lubed up like a nice chrome, like ready to go. Yeah. Shiny and no rust around.
That dude was ready for a ditty.
Ready to go, lubed up and ready to go.
Don't stoop to his level, bro.
No,
come on. You're not there, dude.
I had
1,000 bottles.
Don't stoop.
1,000 bottles.
You can't hang even if you try.
Man, I tried.
You're not.
No, but like Donovan deserves a lot of credit, and Austin Saravel deserves a credit. Gets put into the game. And
how about a little right guard?
Somewhere he has not played. Somewhere he's not played or really practiced. Jumps in. First play he's in there is an 86-yard touchdown run. You're like, okay, that actually worked.
Yeah, and then I think they must have had some plans for like specific drives to get Austin Saravel involved because Tegrish tried to go back out for the one after that and had to be pulled back. He's like, well, he only got to take one snap. So
yeah, that's part of it. It's like one play series really don't justify like a series.
Yeah, so
maybe for a running back when you ran the 86 yards, but for the like lineman, like, all right, we're just gonna jog down the field, hand in the air, we're good.
Yeah, take a break.
I thought C.J. Hicks played his best game of the year.
Very consistent. Very consistent.
like,
did a good job.
I'm trying not to harp on the question marks because I think that there are real ones, especially when you extrapolate it out to how the Marshall offense.
Quinshon said he was the real one.
He is the real one. How the Marshall offense, like it felt similar to what I would expect Oregon to do.
Yeah.
I think listening to Bill Landis this morning on Sunday's Kings of the North Sunday Sound Off show. 26 of their 31 dropbacks were no step or one step.
Get the ball out.
So that's what Oregon's going to do.
Yeah.
If that is the concern, I guess, for me, because I'm trying to watch this game and say, what does it mean against a good team?
Dylan Gabriel's going to run it too. He's probably going to play the exact way. You have a veteran quarterback, get it out quick. So
Earl kind of reminds me of the way that he runs too.
Yeah.
Like he's got good speed, not great speed, physical, kind of shifty.
Smart, just saw picked his spots really well. So to me, that's where it's a concern. Now, you obviously hope you have Tyreek Williams there in 3 weeks.
I would
to
imagine
prevent
that
that
you
from
would.
happening, but. That's why you watch it and go, it's a 35-point win. To your point earlier, Brad, the fans aren't happy about things generally ever. But I had this exact same conversation with my brothers on Slack on Saturday during the game. And
he has a family Slack. Yes,
I got a big family. So we said,
group chat?
I said to it's a big family. Okay.
Is there a limit on how many people you can put in a group?
You need that channel. No, we have different channels.
Of course you do.
One is for sports, one is for politics. So we're having.
Oh, that sounds great.
What do they think about big government Birmingham in that Slack channel?
The bottom line is that a 35-point win is really good.
Father lost his job,
and used to be something that was celebrated universally in the Ohio State fandom, and it's not anymore. But
why
I think
is that?
I don't know. I think just the world in general is full of unhappy people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cantankerousness out there.
Imagine all the people.
But that's why I think if you look at this game in a vacuum and say, well, what about this? Like the Oregon game, the Penn State game, those are the things you start to now worry about.
The Indiana game, the way they're playing.
Right. I mean, you can get got. You can get got in the Big Ten just because it hasn't happened to Ohio State in a decade.
Urban was here.
It doesn't mean it can't happen, as you well know.
I was there for a couple of those games.
Remember when the 2014 lost to Northwestern?
No one remembers that.
These are things that can happen. So
how did he pick that one?
I don't know.
There's I-1 Purdue right there. He picks that one.
Because I
had an interception on the 25, 30-yard line that we should have been able to go get a touchdown.
Because Ohio State hadn't lost to Northwestern in 40 years.
34 years.
So you can have those moments.
So if your focus is
I don't know
on
where the lights
Dylan Gabriel and the mobility, does that mean, Brad, that an Aiden Childs opportunity this week is significant for the Buckeyes?
Yes and no, because Aiden Childs, from what I saw, because I watched their game this past weekend, he's very talented, but it's still so raw. Where Dylan Gabriel's that 26-year-old or whatever he is now, those old guys, veteran product.
He's older than Joe Burrow. I think.
Yeah, so Aiden Childs, you don't know what you're gonna get. He's gonna escape the pocket and move. Hopefully, you're gonna be able to throw him into a lot more interceptions there at least. So I think it will be good just in terms of mobility, but he's not gonna make the same decisions that Dylan Gabriel will.
I love,
and they don't have the weapons to get the ball to
save the last dance.
And they don't have the weapons to get the
ball
to real quickly. That's where again. The Ohio State tackling from the linebacker spot where I would get concerned, because if Dylan Gabriel's able to hit Evan Stewart on a little swing pass like that, that's a guy who can take it 85 yards against you in a blink of an eye. That's not what Marshall had. So, you just look at the problems and you go, okay, what if I extrapolate this out to a real game?
But here's the one thing I always tell people about that.
But not every game's the same.
They watch the film of that, and so they realize the strength and weaknesses of individual players, of what they're good at. So you try to scheme around to not put yourself in a situation where you may be one-on-one with a back, that if you miss something, that it is an 80-yard touchdown.
Plus, it was really hot.
I've also been part of teams that we've had the same mistakes pop up for 13 games long. So I'm hoping we get those fixed. But, positives is we didn't see that last year on offense is the big home run plays. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we talked about that a lot. I was happy to see that. That's all I cared about offensively, because last year it felt like we just never had a home run ball that we could hit.
There's a lot of home runs now.
Yeah,
it's nice.
They're crushing them. I think Mike Bassford was looking up.
Not a hater. They just crush a lot.
Yeah. When was the last time they had 3 50-yard touchdowns in a game? It's I don't know. Have to go look through a lot of record books to try and find that out. Yeah. Box scores, the 86-yard touchdown, the way that the stiff arms were coming and the getting to the next level from Travion and Quinshon. That's the stuff that just has me excited, because I know that there's more that this offense can do, and I don't see how Michigan State's going to stop it.
No. I don't think they will. This Michigan State team is better than I thought they were at the beginning of the season. I wish they would have beat BC because they may have been ranked at that point if they would have been 4-0 coming in. They played some good football. They've improved. They don't have the depth of players that Ohio State has. I mean, John Smith is a good coach, but they lost a lot of guys in the portal. They brought in some. He'll build a program there, and then they will be good. This first year, though, is going to be a little rough. And it's going to be a big night up there for him. They're honoring Mark D'Antonio, and I think they picked this game, given his ties to the state of Ohio, coaching at Ohio State.
Wait, he's going to be there? Does that mean there's going to be a blizzard or some sort of crazy weather event that he was always able to
conjure
storm?
up?
Yeah,
What's
going to happen?
It's been hot. It's going to be. It's been hot and dry, but it's going to be a whip.
I haven't checked the weather yet.
Oh no! It doesn't matter what the weather says because as soon as you get there, it's going to change. Yeah. I don't know what happens in that.
So it'll be a big night. I mean, for that, and I know there's the ties between, with him and guys even on the staff that either played for him there at Ohio State and some at Michigan State. So it'll be big, but it'll be exciting. I don't know if it should have been a night game. That 7:30 kick, a 3:30
on Peacock,
streaming on the Cock.
Well, the 3:30 may have been a better window, but it is what it is. You got to wait around all day for it, but it'll be an exciting game, and I think it'll be
waiting all day for Saturday night.
Yeah, it'll be better than Western Michigan. I can promise you that. And I like the way this schedule is set up really nice, and people have talked like it hasn't been great, obviously, but it is kind of amplified every week, and it's grown. And I think this will be a nice next piece because Michigan State is better than Marshall. Are they as good as Iowa? Maybe at some stuff, maybe not quite on defense yet, but it's just elevating to that Oregon crescendo, which may not end up being as loud as we thought it was going to be. But what are you going to do? You play the teams are on.
I think it's a good environment to get you ready for. I mean,
it's a road environment at night.
It's a road environment at night, and I mean, I grew up a fan there. I obviously was there for a year. The fans show up. Like it will be. The students will be there.
They'll be loud in the first quarter.
Yeah, they'll be loud the first quarter. So it'll be a good kind of intro into that road environment. I don't think it's going to be like what they'll see in Oregon, but it's definitely they need that step up. I'm glad it's happening instead of just going right out to Oregon.
Right. So. Yeah, that'll help.
No deep water this time, though.
Yeah. I think they should have just kept that because it made so much sense for that program to embrace deep water and sharks.
But I think wasn't it alligators or was it sharks?
No, it was sharks.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. Well, who cares?
Almost
as bad as... Are there sharks in the river up there?
A lot of the college teams don't get the historical accuracies right. USC messed up the Trojan horse thing in like a hype video a couple weeks ago.
That was remarkable. I'm like, the horse was the Greeks going into Troy.
That was bad.
That is the reverse. I mean, I feel like I'm watching Gladiator.
Yeah. This isn't the time to start talking about the education system in this country. But there's a fairly good chance we've got all the good guys and bad guys wrong.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right, what's going to happen on Saturday night, 7:30?
Ooh, I like the Bucks. We'll say 40, 45, 13.
45-13, Bob has. Brad?
That was exactly what I was going to say, but I'm going to bump it up to 52-13.
Oh, okay.
52-13.
He
saw your score and he raised you another
Ohio State's averaging 52 points a game this season, so that would be the average.
The average is the average.
There we go.
Very well said.
Let's see.
I got the Tom Brady analysis here. That guy's
again,
fast.
as always. Well, Tom Brady is bad on TV. He is. I mean, I'm sure he'll get better.
Hey, we finally found something that Tom Brady cannot do.
I'm sure he's going to get better at some point.
That and jiu-jitsu.
Yikes.
Oh.
Oh, that's mean.
It is mean. I love Tom. He's one of my favorites.
I know where he can find an instructor.
52-13 is pretty much where I was ballparking, but I'm going to say 49-10.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 52-6, Bob.
Again?
You're going to give him that 49-0 that we had a couple years ago.
Is that?
It's a good game.
He's said 52-6 every week.
I think it's
when the average 52, like,
you just told us that the average is 52.
What's the defense letting up?
And it's 6, I think. It's about that. It's like 6 point something. It's 20/3, so you do the math.
Sounds like the right score to me. The average is the average, and the standard.
So you're taking
the standard.
The Buckeyes to cover.
That's correct.
By almost double.
Yeah.
So
I've seen Ohio State play Michigan State before.
All right.
And
it seems like
80% of the time it is an absolute blowout.
Well,
and the other 20% are just complete
Usually,
mind.
when it's
melding
not
opportunities.
when it is a blowout, it's when the game's hyped up. It's when it's not supposed to be great is when you get a little worried.
That's actually true. That's a good
like
point.
the game when they were ranked 11th or whatever, and I'm like, they scored on 7
And it was
consecutive
49-0 at
drives.
half.
Yeah.
They were like, no, it was top 10 matchup and stuff.
Maybe
That
it was.
was-
Maybe they're ninth.
That was the game where Mel Tucker sprinted to the locker room at halftime to sign his contract to make sure that he got all that money, which turns out
You
He
didn't.
didn't.
get to keep it anyway.
Ducks
Tough
coming.
break.
Ducks
Yeah.
coming.
He was.
Well, that's
that
the
was
end
the
of the
problem. And we've made it to the end of the show. It was fun and it was casual. It was a conversation
Uber casual.
about the
Those
Buckeyes.
LA parties.
Big Ten game, Big Ten opener for the Buckeyes on the road Saturday night at Michigan State. Can't wait for that. Thanks to Nicole Cox and Roosters for having us out here again to talk about the Buckeyes. Thanks to Brad Robinson and Bobby Carpenter for their insight, and Berm for making it down here to chat with me again.
Quinchian Henderkins.
Yeah, it'll catch on. Just keep repeating it. And
It's actually harder to say than you
It
think.
really is. Because when you say it, I want to correct you right away.
You do it. Say it
I
3
don't
times
even know
fast.
what you're saying.
Quinchian Henderkins.
Quinchian Henderkins.
You practice that at night in the mirror?
I did it on
before
the
you go to
drive
bed?
down. I kept saying it out loud. Quinchian Henderkins. Quinchian Henderkins. I said it to myself in the car over and over and over.
have a great week,
That was
folks.
dear.
Thanks for joining us for the live show at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint. We'll see you next week.